But head on over to SuperTalk TV. You'll see I'm not alone anymore in the studio, which I love. You may have recently seen the headline, Flowwood Woman Helps Save the Life of Paralyzed Man in Texas, and thought, whoa, that's really cool. We've got her in the building to share her side of the story. Joining us is Tammie Arrington to tell us a little more. Hey, Tammie.
Hi, Rebecca.
Did you ever think you'd make the news in that way?
Absolutely not, but I'm glad it's for something good.
Absolutely glad for something good, and it is good. So this all happened on September 5th in Texas. So first, what took you to Texas?
So my friend was moving into a new house he already lives in Dallas, and he was moving to a different part of Dallas, and so I just took some time off to go over there and help, holiday weekend, and we had been working pretty much all week on that, and then this happened that Sunday morning, and I just kind of decided to take a moment and drink my coffee, and instead of going to run errands with my friend that just moved, and we had just moved everything in that day before. So I was just kind of probably scrolling on.
Yeah, I was like, set the scene for us, and then how you made the courageous choice to jump into action, because I don't know if everyone would, but obviously it was just instinctual and you just knew it needed to be done. So walk us through what happened next.
Okay. So I was probably scrolling on social media or something, just being lazy, mindless scrolling. And my friend texted saying they were on their way back. And I said, oh gosh, I got to hurry up and get in the shower, because that's why I stayed back. So I went to put my coffee cup in the kitchen, and you walk by the front window that faces the driveway. And then I walked by, and I just happened to see a little bit of a back end of a car in his driveway parked on the road. And in that neighborhood, you know, there's a lot of building going on and everything, so you never know if a car that's parked on this side is connected to a person on the other side of the road in another house or anything. So I just kind of glanced at it, and as I glanced further into the window, I saw the front left tire on fire and the hood was on fire. All the doors were closed, so I mean, it was a shocking sight, obviously, but I was like, okay. So I grabbed my phone, and I just figured nobody was in it. I walked out on the porch to see if anybody was maybe standing outside somewhere and was calling 911, or if, the person had gotten out. And I did not see a single soul. It was kind of like a ghost town for some reason. And it was about Sunday morning, 9:15. And I was about to call 911. Just thinking it caught on fire from a shortage of something, and just nobody was in there. And I saw Dennis's, because I was looking from the back end of the car, so I saw Dennis's head move just a little bit from the headrest. And
that was the driver.
The driver, yes, sorry. As soon as I saw that, I just sprung into action, like you said. Like it's just instinctual. There was no thought behind it. Just I threw my phone on the grass, and I ran to the car, and I opened the door.
So the door was unlocked.
Yes, thank gosh. Yeah. So I just opened the door, and I looked at him, thinking he was in shock, and I said, "You've got to get out of the car," and he said, "I can't." And then I just remember thinking, oh, no, you got to get out.
That's not funny.
But we laughed about it since.
But because Dennis had reasons why he couldn't.
Right.
Because he's paralyzed.
Right.
So is he, because he was driving, so is he just paralyzed from the waist down? Or
yes.
Is he, okay.
So he's waist down. And, obviously I knew nothing about him. So I just was just like, no, you've got to get out. Like, you're in shock.
On fire.
Yeah. Can you not see this? And so by that point, it really was smoking on the inside near his left foot. And so when I said the second time, you've got to get out of the car, he said, I can't, I'm in a wheelchair. And he pointed to the back seat. So then I glanced in the back seat, and it wasn't one of those hospital, like, folding ones. It was one that you have to disassemble for him to be able to get it in the car and get in and out. Because he has to, like, kind of assemble it on the side of the car and open door. It takes a while. So once I saw that, I said, okay. So I opened the back door, and I was going to try to assemble it quickly. My thought process was that I would get him in the wheelchair and get him away from the car faster that way. But once I started trying to put the parts together, and I was panicking at that point, I just figured, I was like, okay, well, we're just going to have to reroute. And I threw the parts of the wheelchair in the driveway and kind of farther up, and I went back to the front seat and said, okay, I'm just going to have to get you out. And so I kind of picked him up underneath his armpits, and I just kind of dragged him up the driveway, and then halfway up the driveway, I sat him back down. We assembled the wheelchair together. He showed me where to put it, and he did the other side, and then I put him in the wheelchair while I called my friend that had just moved there and said, because up until that point, I'm just trying to get him out of the car.
And nobody had shown up to, like, nobody else was alerted around for, like, 911, fire department?
No, it was kind of eerily quiet when I stepped out on the front porch, because you just think, when you think of a fire, you think it's going to be making, and it wasn't exploding at that point yet, like little pops and stuff here and there. By the time I was getting him out, it was. But when I stepped out, I just remember thinking how quiet it was. So there was no reason. It was Sunday morning, I think the footage.
You could have been the only person drinking coffee, scrolling Facebook, like who may have noticed something on fire in the middle of the neighborhood.
I'll tell you, right across the street from this house, they're building a new house. So nobody's in that house. I think the one on the left of it is vacant. I think they just sold that one. The neighborhood is kind of going in between the new and the old. So like they're building a lot of new, bigger homes and stuff like that. So it kind of was just at a weird spot in the neighborhood as well. And then the neighbors to the left, which is the footage that you've seen on I think other news outlets. Once they heard the fire truck come and the sirens, they came out and they videoed the car, and that's what it was. So until you heard the fire truck, nobody thought to come out.
How long from when you removed him to when it went?
So, I actually need to go back and look at the text that my friend sent me that made me get up. And then the time that once I got Dennis once we got in the wheelchair and I rolled him into the garage and I shut the garage door, because at that point the heat was so intense from the car and it was starting to explode little by little, I guess the different liquids and flammables in there. I went out, and I work in the insurance field, so I guess my insurance nerd brain was like, let me go take a picture for your insurance. And I told him that. And now afterwards, we laughed about that too. And I'm just like, that is just a weird thing to say. But in your line of work, we document. And I need to look at the timestamps on my photos and then the timestamp on the text, because it feels like it was like 2 seconds, but it had to have been maybe 5 minutes at least.
But still 5 minutes is not a long time. So there was a very short window from you getting him out to it not ending the way that it had happened.
Yes.
When did it hit you that, like, oh man, I just saved a man from a burning car?
Well, I think one time it hit me when we were so once the fire truck got there, we were behind the garage door, and I went to check on, to make sure they were taking care of things. And then I went and got Dennis some water. And then I just sat there behind the garage door, just patting his back. He was still in shock. And I was just like, we were just staring at the garage door, so we couldn't even see anything. And I was just patting his back, and I was like, I'm so sorry you're having to deal with this. And I think that moment is when it kind of hit me, but I didn't want to, break down. Right. Because it was still so crazy at that point. And I don't think it really hit me until afterwards, when I was actually in the shower that I was supposed to be taking, that I didn't go to Costco for. But, it kind of hit me then. And then after that, it's just been a little crazy since then.
And now you have a new bestie.
Yeah, we're meeting again at the end of this month to do a face-to-face reunion for the first time since this happened. We've done, we've seen each other on FaceTime, but we've talked every single day since it happened. And I'm going out to dinner with him and his mom, and I'm going to bring my son when we go back to Dallas.
And from his account, Dennis's, what happened? It was just
So he rents a car. And he said he rents this car from Enterprise a couple times a month, I think, and it's a special car because obviously he needs to have controls to where his hands can, gas, pedal, brakes, to operate the vehicle, and to have some independence. He's been paralyzed since he was 22, and he got shot while being robbed. So he has been in a wheelchair. He's 58 now, so he's been in a wheelchair for a while, and he's done really good things with this. He mentors other people that are paralyzed, trying to help them adjust to that lifestyle. And so he rents this car, and he said that he just felt like it was about to give out that morning, and he just so happened to pull over, and he next thing he knew, it was
God ordained spot.
Yeah.
where Tammie
Yeah.
could be to come out and sort of help. I feel like there's going to be more good that comes out of you guys' story as y'all continue y'all's friendship. Well, thank you for sharing your side of it there with us, and we'll keep in touch because I think there's some good there. All right, you guys stick with us. We got more for you coming up next.